So about 2.5 years ago, a team of collaborators began working on this project that we dubbed Marsh Sustainability and Hydrology, just for wanted to have a sort of short way to refer to the project. And it was geared toward assessing the impacts of hydrological alterations on marsh sustainability in a changing climate. As managers, ecologists, restoration practitioners, and researchers report widespread changes in our salt marsh ecosystems that are concerning, this has brought into focus key questions such as how resilient these valuable ecosystems can remain in the face of sea level rise and other environmental pressures, and how to best balance varying management needs and how to preserve marsh ecosystem services while doing those actions. And so this project aimed to bring a team of researchers and potential end users of the science together to tackle some of these issues and work together to develop research-based information and a decision support tool to aid managers in managing marsh hydrology in the future. Today, you're going to hear about the content of that work. You're going to hear about some of the outputs that we have to share with the coastal management community, and you're also get to meet the MSH team members who can be a resource for you and perhaps a collaborator in the future on other work that you may be doing. As I mentioned, we have a very diverse group joining us this morning. So on the line, even though we can't see each other, I just want people to know that we have a mix of managers, restoration practitioners, we have conservation groups, we have nonprofit organizations, we have federal state agency staff and local groups as well, all concerned about the sustainability of our marsh ecosystems, understanding how much benefit we all get from them in society, and wanting to see how we can work together and use science to continue to manage these ecosystems and set them on a trajectory for success to the best that we can in the future. And I'd like to now introduce you to the rest of the Marsh Sustainability and Hydrology Project team. On the left, we have Amanda Spivak, who's a principal investigator for the project and a co-technical lead. And she's actually started out with the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution and is now with the University of Georgia. So we should update that affiliation. Then we have Susan Adamovich, who is a science team and end user rep, and she's with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. We have our collaborator, Megan Eagle, who is with the science team and with the USGS. And then we also have Sharon Luke, who you'll be hearing from today. She's a PhD candidate working with the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution and the joint program with MIT as well. Then we have Julia Mariotti. He's a modeler on the team and the co-technical lead. He's based at Louisiana State University. Next, there's Gabriella Sokolsky. She's our end user rep, and she's with Cape Cod Mosquito Control Program. And then we have Megan Tyrell, who's my a staff member with me at the Wacoit Bay Reserve. She's our research coordinator, and on this project, she was also a part of the science team and an end user rep as well. And then again, I'm Tana Marie Rogers, and I'm the collaborative lead in the project, and I'm the director of the Wacoit Bay Reserve. For the agenda this morning, here's how we're going to step through our time together. We're going to start out by setting the stage. Some of you are familiar with this work. We've been engaging with you through our stakeholder workshops over the course that we've been doing this project. And so you have some knowledge of what we'll be talking about, but there are many others on the line today who this work will be super fresh for, and they'll be hearing it for the first time. So we're going to set the stage and give you an idea of what drove this work, what was the motivation for this project. There's an important sort of thread that ties the work together, and it's because we use a collaborative research framework, linking the concerns and the approaches of researchers and end users intentionally over the entire course of the project, actually from its conceptualization to right now when we're getting towards the end. And so we'll just be framing that up, the linking science to management piece, because that was the underpinning of how this project was structured. And then we're going to hear some about the research results from the field and from the lab analyses that have been done. We're going to also step through this decision support tool and model that we've developed out of the project, again, for the benefit of managers in the coastal management community. So you'll be hearing about that and where to find the tool and how you can interact with it further. And then at the end, we have set aside a chunk of time for engagement with you. In the beginning, you'll be doing a lot of listening from our team members, but towards the end of the webinar, we really think it's important with all the very diverse group of people who are on this morning to benefit from your wisdom, from your thoughts, from your comments, from what you've heard. And so we're going to use a very simple sort of engagement tool just to get your ideas and comments. And I really encourage you to stay around for that portion and to share both your questions and your ideas on that. All of that information will also be made available for the benefit of all of you. And then we'll wrap up and also share a neat video that was done just to summarize this work, and so it can be shared with others who aren't here today. And so with that, let's get to setting the stage. And so I mentioned that there was a thread that tied everything together for this project, and it was the idea of working on the research in a way with a focus of trying to link the science to management. What can we learn from the research, and how can we direct the research to be able to address questions that managers really want to know to be able to tackle managing marsh hydrology? I just wanted to start out by framing up for you a few of the areas that we heard about through our engagement efforts with a variety of partners, and these partners spread across federal and state agencies for groups that are right now working on this very issue, and to local managers as well, working on the conservation of these areas. And so through our different engagement workshops, I just summarized for you here in a few bullets, sort of the main interest areas that came across if you were to roll those up. And we heard about the fact that managers are having to deal with trade-offs. Decisions read different management scenarios and strategies that they could try. And these management strategies, for those who are maybe less familiar with what's happening on the ground, when someone goes out there to sort of deal with ditches, they're doing efforts that they label things like ditch remediation, ditch plugging, managing ditch depth, thinking about maybe open water management, maybe no intervention at all. So they had to think about between all these different sort of steps, maybe using sort of shallow dishes, which are called runnels, and this has been gaining more attention recently. And so these are some of the sort of different techniques that are being tried and studied right now and looked at over time. And so, as you can imagine, there's quite a need to sort of think about, if I do X action, what will be the impact? If I do B action, what will be the impact? And so that was one of the things we heard about, being able to sort of straddle these different things and understand trade-offs, what the impact of a management strategy might be. And there was also a desire to have some kind of predictive capability. We heard that currently managers go in the field, they have to make real-time decisions to sort of assess what's happening on the ground, and then react to that each year or each season that they're out. And so being able to have some kind of predictive capability to look forward, to think about forecast, what might happen in the future as a result of different management actions, was also a big theme. There was a lot of sort of focus on understanding how ditch maintenance affects marsh elevation, different amounts, how many ditches, what percentage of ditches to manage, different ditch depths, how far down to manage these different ditches, and whether you're using regular size ditches or shallow runnels. So this was a lot of area that we heard about a lot from our end users. Also understanding processes that contribute to pool formation. Managers report seeing a lot more pools being formed on the salt marsh platform. So understanding processes that contribute to that and how marshes will respond to changing ditch depth, shape, length, density over time was also another area. And again, focus on ditches, understanding how different ditch management approaches affect water movement, fish patches, in order to control mosquito populations. And so we had quite a mix of interests, because managers might be coming from this from different angles. Someone from the Cape Cod Mosquito Control is thinking about controlling mosquito populations. Someone else might be thinking about, species that are in decline on, that would use the salt marsh for habitat and are threatened because of sea level rise. Others might just be thinking about maintaining habitat, maintaining different ecosystem services that we get, carbon storage, what's the impact on that? So we had quite a lot of interest areas to bring together and to think about, how do we create, direct the research again to answer some of the primary questions we heard about, and then also to feed into the development of this decision support tool.